This camera right here is the Canon R5 and it is capable of shooting in 8K. But the question is, can you even see the difference between 1080 and 8K? The following footage will be filmed in different resolutions. Can you spot the difference? Could you tell which clips are which? Could you tell which clips are 1080 and which clips are 8K? Could you see any difference between the clips? And I must confess, I did trick you guys just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at the footage. I wanna see if I can tell a difference. Okay, so I've rendered out an 8K version of what you just saw, and I've watched it on my 16-inch MacBook Pro with a 3K screen, on the 6K XDR monitor, and on the 4K LG CX65-inch, which, by the way, is my favorite TV ever. It is so good. Like, if you care about your movies and your TV shows looking the best, this is what you want. And unfortunately, none of my computers, including my Mac Pro, which cost $27,000, could play this 8K footage smoothly. I wish you guys were all here in my office. I'm maybe not all of you, that would be a lot, but like, I wish you could see how good this TV is. I actually ended up buying one of these TVs for my home also because, yeah, I had to. On all three displays, I was able to see a difference. Not as much on the moving shots, but when it was static and there wasn't as much happening, I could definitely see that there was so much more detail in the 8K footage. For example, this face shot at the end, I could tell which one is 1080 and which one is 8K pretty easily without having to do like a crazy pixel peep. Now, like I said, I did trick you guys a little bit. Not only was there 1080 and 8K footage, there was also some 4K footage in there, which I'll talk about in a bit. But I also snuck in some EOS R footage in 1080, and not just 1080, also in 720. If you couldn't spot those shots, then that's really interesting, because now this video is an 8K versus 720 video. Now, I, on the displays, could definitely tell the difference between the 720 and 8K, and even the 1080 on the EOS R. The 720, it almost looked like there was no real detail. After you get used to the 8K detail, it is very obvious that this is not the same stuff. The difference between the 1080 and the 4K on the R5 was a lot harder to see. I really couldn't tell the two apart. They both looked pretty much the same. Now, I didn't use 4K HQ, which I think would be more close to the 8K and probably would be harder to distinguish. Probably should have done that. But I have a feeling I could tell the difference here, but then you guys on YouTube, even though this is exported and uploaded in 8K, you probably can't see the difference that much. I'm curious, could you see the difference? Let me know, be honest. So the final verdict is yes, you can see the difference between 1080 and 8K, which I guess makes sense because it's what, like 16 times better quality? Don't quote me on that math, I could be wrong. But the question is, why does it matter? Well, honestly, this was more of a test for me because I've been filming in 1080, like all these talking shots are just in 1080. All the vlogs that I've filmed on the R5 have been in 1080. And I wanted to know how much quality am I missing out on? And yes, I'm definitely missing out on quality, but not enough that I would want to deal with the massive file sizes and the headaches of using proxies and all that most of the time for these vlogs and all that stuff. But if I was filming like a short film or a music video, then heck yes, I would use the 8K, definitely, at least the 4K HQ at the minimum, but I would probably just go all out with 8K. That's just how I am. I want the best if I can get it. But for YouTube, for vlogs, I'll pass. Oh, and by the way, 0 overheating yet. None whatsoever. Interesting.